Alright, so some Ron DeSantis and Disney news, which will come as a surprise to absolutely nobody. His controlled Disney World district abolished the DEI programs, which, like I said, should come as no surprise to anybody. But let's get to the article anyway. Diversity, equity, and inclusion programs were abolished Tuesday from Walt Disney World's governing district, now controlled by appointees of Governor Ron DeSantis, in an echo of the Florida governor's agenda, which has championed curtailing such programs in higher education and elsewhere. Because we shouldn't want anyone who is non-white, non-cis, or non-hetero to have any power at all. Anyway, the Central Florida Tourism Oversight District said in a statement that its Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee would be eliminated, as would any job duties connected to it. Also axed were initiatives left over from when the district was controlled by Disney supporters, which awarded contracts based on goals of achieving racial or gender parity. Again, no surprise that they're that dickish. Glenn Gilson, the district's new administrator, who is African American and a former head of the Central Florida Urban League, called such initiatives illegal and simply un-American. Okay, just think about this for a moment. A black man is calling this illegal and un-American. Gilson has been a fellow or member of two conservative institutions, could have fooled me, the James Madison Institute and the American Enterprise Institute Leadership Network, as well as a DeSantis appointee to the Florida Commission on Ethics. I would love to know what's illegal about it. Are you one of those conservatives that's like, oh, I got mine, fuck the rest of you? Because I know Republicans like that. Our district will no longer participate in any attempt to divide us by race or advance the notion that we are not created equal, Gilson said in a statement. What? That we are not created equal? No one said that we weren't? What? I mean, did you think we were equal when slavery was legal and there were very few free black people? I'm not exactly sure what he means by that. I mean, we should be equal under the law. Other than that, I don't know what he's talking about. As the former head of the Central Florida Urban League, a civil rights organization, I can say definitively that our community thrives only when we work together despite our differences. Okay, you're part of a civil rights organization that is not interested in advocating for civil rights. Got it. Yeah, I bet that's probably why you are no longer administrator to that league. Or you just simply decided that, power is more important to you than principles. An email was sent seeking comment from Disney World. Last spring, DeSantis, who is running for the GOP presidential nomination, signed into law a measure that blocks public colleges from using federal or state funding on diversity programs. Notice that guy still never said what was illegal about these initiatives. Because they can't. They can't tell you what's illegal about it because it's not illegal. They just, want to push their narrative and not think too much about it. DeSantis has also championed Florida's so-called Stop Woke law, which bars businesses, colleges, and K-12 schools from giving training on certain racial concepts, such as the theory that people of a particular race are inherently racist, which literally nobody ever says, privileged or oppressed, which again, nobody ever says. Yes, white privilege exists. That does not mean that they are across the board better off than all black people and that there's no discussion. Nobody is saying all white people are oppressors and nobody is saying all black people are oppressed. That is literally not what anybody is saying. But we have to say that because if we, actually attempted nuance, we might have to think instead of just vomiting out whatever we want to make us feel good. A federal judge last November blocked the law's enforcement in colleges, universities, and businesses, calling it positively dystopian. The creation of the district, then known as the Reedy Creek Improvement District, was instrumental in Disney's decision to build a theme park resort near Orlando in the 1960s. Having a separate government allowed the company to provide zoning, fire protection, utilities, and infrastructure services on its sprawling property. The district was controlled by Disney supporters for more than 5 decades. And I did a article. I did a video on an article how Disney took away a lot of its power right before the Ron DeSantis appointed members could be seated. So yeah, they stopped the bleeding to some degree. Richard Fogelsong, a Rollins College professor emeritus, said he was surprised that the matter was decided internally rather than by a public vote of the 5 members appointed by DeSantis to the district's boards, who have promised repeatedly to be more transparent than their predecessors. Why does this surprise you? This is an issue of public importance, says Fogelsong, who wrote a definitive account of Disney World's governance in his book, Married to the Mouse, Walt Disney World and Orlando. The DeSantis appointees took control of the renamed district earlier this year following a year-long feud between the company and DeSantis. The fight began last year after Disney, beset by significant pressure internally and externally, publicly opposed a state law banning classroom lessons on sexual orientation and gender identity in early grades, a policy critics called Don't Say Gay, which no longer just is limited to early grades. It's everybody now. As punishment, DeSantis took over the district through legislation passed by Republican lawmakers and appointed a new board of supervisors to oversee municipal services for the sprawling theme parks and hotels. Disney sued DeSantis and his 5 board appointees in federal court, claiming the Florida governor violated the company's free speech rights by taking the retaliatory action. Before the new board came in, Disney made agreements with previous oversight board members who were Disney supporters that stripped the new supervisors of their authority over design and development. The DeSantis-appointed members of the governing districts have sued Disney in state court in a second lawsuit stemming from the district's takeover, seeking to invalidate those agreements. So, yeah, this is such a mess. And all DeSantis is doing is further tanking himself amongst Floridians and amongst the U.S. because he's running for president, as that article pointed out. And he's not doing well. He is so far behind Trump, and which is another discussion altogether about how the hell Trump, who's been indicted 3 times already, has that sizable of a lead. And everybody else is in single digits. So whatever support they are getting, whatever gains they make, is basically taking away from DeSantis. So, you know, all Ron DeSantis is doing is going down. Trump is going up, which I have no understanding why. I do not understand why people are more willing to support him now. But anyway, so DeSantis is not doing well. He's not doing well at all. And I wonder if not only if he's going to lose a presidency, which he won't even get past the Republican primary, if he isn't also going to lose his governorship because he is so chronically online that he is pushing things in a world that doesn't exist. Like these initiatives where they are claiming that these initiatives are racist, that they're teaching that one race is inherently racist. These are things that don't exist in real life. Nobody is saying that white people are inherently racist. Nobody is saying that black people are inherently oppressed. That is literally not what anybody is saying. And the fact that they do think that tells you that they do not have a grip on reality. They just don't. So they are trying to destroy Florida. And the only thing good that can come out of this is that Floridians will wake up and get rid of him. And hopefully get someone who isn't a horrible, horrible excuse for a human being. But anyway, that is the latest on that. And I will see you guys in the next video.